This was a disappointing loss for the Chicago Bulls as they get beat by the Milwaukee Bucks 112-91. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's game. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and welcome to another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, the Chicago Bulls get beat by the Milwaukee Bucks 112-91. Initially, my thoughts on this game is just that the Chicago Bulls came out really flat. They also relied way too much on the three-point shot, and just the effort was not there for the Chicago Bulls on the defensive end. I felt like Milwaukee pretty much got any shot they wanted. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, like these are a couple players that just really got to their spots, including Chris Middleton, because the Milwaukee Bucks were shorthanded coming into this game. They didn't have Dame and they didn't have Giannis, and it did not matter because they were able to just get anything that they wanted against the Chicago Bulls. And so let's go ahead and jump into the box score and look at some of the key takeaways from tonight's game. And so let's start with Patrick Williams. And so Patrick Williams, I think that he does a good job by getting into the double figures tonight with the 13 points. I think that this last game out he had 14 in that one, and so that's good to see with Patrick Williams that the scoring has been there over the last couple games. He did have 4 rebounds, he had an assist, and I think that he did shoot the ball very well from the three-point line. He was 3 of 6 tonight, but it just wasn't enough for us tonight. He was +1 in the plus-minus box score, which I think did lead us as far as the starters are concerned, so that was good to see from Patrick Williams. Next up with Vooch, and so Vooch, I think that the key takeaway for this game is just that he could not knock down the three-point shot, and I think that Vooch had some moments in this game, but because we were relying so much on the three-point shot, I think that may have maybe knocked Vooch out of his game, because I think that there was one point in the third quarter, and this is brought up during the actual telecast, and Stacey King goes over it, but Vooch is going to establish his position in the post, and I believe we had Julian Phillips or Dalen Terry standing in the corner, and instead of cutting and actually maybe getting a layup, we had that player just stand at the corner three-point line, and that was the symbolization of tonight's game. Just not enough paint touches, just not enough, ball movement, player movement in the half-court sets, and so I think that we got bogged down. The floor spacing was just pretty terrible tonight, and I think that that's really what happened to Vooch tonight as well. Just the floor spacing was not there, so a tough night for him. He had the 17 tonight, but just really shot it poorly from downtown and just couldn't get anything going in the paint like he usually does. Next up, Coby White. And so Coby White just continues to struggle. He's definitely in a slump for sure. It's something that I think that he certainly can get out of. I talked about this in the pregame show. And with Coby White, 10 points today. He did have 3 assists. He had 2 rebounds, but he was negative 13. And he also had 4 turnovers, and he shot 4 of 11 from the field. So just Coby White continues to just be out of rhythm since he's gotten back, into the lineup from the injury or whatnot. But just at some point, Coby White's going to have to, really go out there and find it again. Next up with Zach LaVine. And so Zach LaVine, I think that the key takeaway in this one is just not aggressive enough. I wanted to see some more from Zach LaVine. This is 2 games in a row that this has happened, but he did have 14 points. He had 3 assists. He had 6 rebounds. He had a steal, but he was negative 18 in the plus-minus box score. And so we needed to see Zach LaVine be a bit more assertive. I know he got hot at one point. The team did pull it within 8, but we never could get over that hump. And so next up with Ayo. And so Ayo just couldn't really make a shot tonight. I think that was the bottom line for him. He had 5 points, but he did have 11 assists, so I think he did a great job as far as distributing the basketball and really running the point for us there. He did have 4 rebounds. He had 2 steals. He was negative 19 in the plus-minus box score, but the key takeaway from him tonight is just you see the 4 turnovers, and so that is really tough to see when you're turning the basketball over at a high rate like that. And so that was a struggle for Ayo today. And so next up with the bench was just terrible. They were terrible tonight. There was only one player that played well off of the bench, and that was really Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He was negative 10 in the plus-minus box score, and he actually was our best scorer in this game as far as off the bench too. And so I think that maybe from an offensive standpoint, he had it going, but everybody else just really struggled. Dalen Terry, 8 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, -5 today. So he did get some buckets, but still finished in a -5. Then when you look at Buzelis, and so Buzelis struggled shooting the basketball, but there was encouraging signs from his game tonight. So even though he had 4 rebounds, he had 2 rebounds, or 4 points, 2 rebounds, and then he also had an assist, but he had the 1 block today. And so with that 1 block, I think that they were showing a stat there during the game that now he is 4th amongst rookies, and this is good to see as a Chicago Bulls fan, because we're seeing that defensively, he has the ability to chase down, an offensive player and get the block or whatever the case may be. That's great. And I think that as he gets stronger, as he gets more experience, he's going to become an even better on-ball defender. And so I think that the fact that he is showing us flashes like this in this game is a huge plus, even though we take the loss and he didn't play that much tonight. But still, I think just seeing the upside was good enough for Modest. And so next up, Julian Phillips. So Julian Phillips struggled tonight, 2 points, a rebound, a -20 in the plus-minus box score. THT really couldn't get anything going. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and he was -10 in the box score. And then also, too, with Chris Duarte, you see that he's +1. He did get in later in the game, 2 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist, +1. But once again, the bench was just not efficient tonight. And then, like I said, Jalen Smith was our best offensive player off the bench with the 14 points. He's the one that had it going. I felt like he was very active there. But, aside from that, just the bench, the team is just a whole was just flat. And I think that as the shots weren't falling because they were relying so much on the 3-point shot, I think that it kind of dictated the mood on the defensive end, which is something that you cannot have happen. And I think that as you become an experienced team, as you become a team that starts to win some things, you have to find ways to overcome that. You cannot let your offense dictate how you play defense. And so now we'll go ahead and move into just the team box score and look at some of the key takeaways here. And so the first thing to note here is that the Bucks win the rebounding totals 49-46. And so I just thought that every time that I saw Milwaukee shoot the basketball on the offensive end, they were able to get rebounds. It seemed like in the first half, they just continued to get their own rebounds, and the percentages continue to go up every time you get offensive rebounds. So that was tough to see for us tonight. And then next up, with the turnovers, once again, we lose in the turnover battle 15-13. So we really beat ourselves there. So that is not good. Next up, with the fast breaks, this was encouraging. We were 12-10, so we led that category. And then this is, really an interesting stat. And just you would think that the Bulls would have maybe come up on the other end of the game with this stat. But today we were in the paint, or points in the paint allowed, we were 48-36. So we actually led that. We still get beat like this tonight, but the Bulls do beat the Bucks in the paint 48-36. Still couldn't get it done overall. And then with the steals tonight, the Bulls were active, 9-7 in that category. So we win that. We were tied as far as block shots are concerned. We did have 27 assists. And this is really, I think, the story of the game for the Bulls, because look, 40% from the field as far as the field goal percentage is concerned. But look at the 20.8% from 3. I mean, that's not going to get it done. And the fact that we continue to shoot the basketball from out there, I mean, that's where it is very concerning with this team. At some point in time, you've got to figure out a way to just go to the basket. Or one of the things that's talked about too in the broadcast is, if you got a chance to look at it, was just it's okay to take a mid-range shot, because I get it. You're trying to get win with 3 is more than 2, but also 2 is better than nothing, meaning that you need to just find a way to score a basket. And that's something that this team just really hasn't locked in on, is that if the 3 ball ball is not falling, it is okay to go out there and get a 2-point field goal. And so next up, you see that the Bucks, I mean, it's not like they shot too much better, but they did knock down their 3-point shots tonight. So that's obviously going to be huge. And so, this was a game that was very winnable for the Chicago Bulls. Talked about this at the start of the video. They didn't have Dame, they didn't have Giannis, and I know that they had Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Chris Middleton, but still, this was a game that the Chicago Bulls really could have gotten if they just would have came out with the right energy, stayed engaged, even though the shots weren't going down, and figured out ways to, get to the paint, get some easy baskets, get to the free throw line, stuff like that. They just didn't do that, and then they got discouraged on the defensive end, and Milwaukee was able to do whatever they wanted to do. And so, anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this recent loss for the Chicago Bulls. I'd love to hear that. Just want to thank everybody out there for liking and subscribing and sharing to the content. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach a humble goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the NBA season. Wanted to let you know that about 66.3% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button for us. So it means a lot as we try to reach our subscriber count. So I just want to say that, look, even though we took a tough loss today, I think that this is a game in which you have to learn from this. I think that you have to understand that you've always got to come out with the right energy. You've always got to come out knowing that, you have to give max effort, especially for a team like we have here in Chicago. Look, we just don't have the type of roster where we can just sit back and let teams get out early and then we're able to come back like that. Like, you have got to come out, give this max energy on the offense and the defensive end. And I get it, with this playing style, it's a lot more possessions and things like that. But this team is in shape. This team can do this. This team has been here before, but they just did not come out with the right energy tonight. So hopefully they do correct this and move forward. And so as we say it all the time, I'm saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.